Two apartments, same neighborhood, almost the same rent. One person earns about $95,000 a year, the other earns about $52,000. Guess who feels safer? The higher earner opens a banking app and feels that cold drop in the stomach. Two missed paychecks from a real crisis would put everything at risk. The lower earner has roughly 18 months of expenses saved, invests about 20% of every paycheck, sleeps. Same streets, same coffee shops, wildly different money lives. So here's the question nobody wants to ask out loud. What if always having money is less about what you earn and more about what your stuff silently charges you every month? Walk into apartment A, 75-inch TV, $4,000 leather sectional, kitchen appliances still sealed in boxes, closets full of clothes with tags. The spare room? Storage. Not a bedroom, storage, for a life that never quite arrives. Walk into apartment B. Modest furniture, things that get used. The spare room is actually a bedroom. There's space, there's air, and somehow the person earning almost half has nearly 10 times the financial security. That should make you pause, because this isn't an income story. It's a relationship between stuff and money, and once you see the mechanism, you can't unsee it. Here's what most people miss. Everything you own costs money twice. First cost is obvious, the purchase. Second cost is quieter, storage, maintenance, cleaning, insurance, mental energy, opportunity cost, the money that could have become margin if it hadn't become furniture. Let me make that plain. Imagine a treadmill that eats about 20 square feet. In a city, space can run something like $30 to $50 per square foot a year. That machine isn't just a one-time buy. It's roughly $600 to $1,000 a year in implicit rent, whether you use it or not. A $30,000 boat? Industry rule of thumb says budget around 10% a year just to keep it. That's about $3,000 every single year after you already paid for the boat. A $15,000 home gym isn't only $15,000. It's the years of growth that money never gets if it had been invested instead. Historically, that gap can grow substantially over about 15 years. Not a promise, just a reminder that unused stuff is rarely free. Researchers have found links between cluttered homes and higher stress patterns. Your nervous system notices the unfinished rooms. Your bank account notices them too. So why does the higher earner feel poorer? Because lifestyle can become a silent recurring bill, not one invoice, a stack of tiny ones, subscriptions, upgrades, space, attention. The margin between income and lifestyle shrinks until a normal month feels like survival. And that margin? That's the real plot. Stay with me, because the twist isn't buy nothing forever. The twist is learning which possessions keep charging you long after the receipt fades. Let's start before money leaves your account. Calculate cost per use. A $100 tool used twice a year costs $50 per use. A $200 pair of shoes worn 300 times costs pennies. Suddenly, cheap and expensive flip. The question stops being, can I afford this, and becomes, what will this cost me every time I touch it and every time I don't? Then run the replacement test on what you already own. If this disappeared tomorrow, would you buy it again at full price? If the honest answer is no, you're paying rent on regret. Never upgrade out of boredom. Boredom is expensive. A new phone because the old one feels dull. A new couch because the room feels stale. That itch doesn't need a purchase. It needs a pause. Most upgrades don't raise your life. They raise your burn rate. Now flip the environment. Add friction for spending. Ease for saving. Make the impulse purchase take 3 steps. Make the transfer to savings take 1. Your future self shouldn't have to win a willpower contest every Friday night. Count your possessions regularly. Not with shame, with a flashlight. When you know how much you own, you feel the weight of the next thing before it lands. A quiet inventory beats a panicked purge. Rent or borrow before you buy. Try the tool. Try the hobby. Try the must-have for a month. Ownership is a commitment. Borrowing is a test, and tests are cheap compared to years of storage. Here's where it escalates. Lifestyle has a multiplier. One upgrade invites another. Better TV wants better sound. Better sound wants better seating. Better seating wants a room design. Suddenly, you're not buying an item, you're buying a chain reaction. That chain is how a $95,000 income can feel thinner than a $52,000 one. Define enough before your earnings rise. If you don't, lifestyle inflation will quietly eat every raise. The promotion arrives, the spending arrives. Faster. You feel richer for 3 weeks, then the anxiety returns in nicer packaging. Measure wealth by optionality, not accumulation. Optionality is the ability to miss 2 paychecks and stay calm, to walk away from a bad job, to wait for a better deal. Stuff on shelves is not optionality. Cash buffer and invested margin are. And decluttering? Make it cyclical, not a once-a-year emotional storm. Small, regular releases keep the second cost from compounding. An annual purge is theater. A monthly trim is a money system. Now the full picture comes into focus. Person A didn't lose because they earned less. They earned more. They lost margin. Person B didn't win by being cheap. They protected the gap between what came in and what lifestyle demanded. That gap funded the emergency fund. That gap funded the 20% investing habit. That gap bought sleep. Always having money in this framing is living better with less drag, less silent rent from unused objects, less cortisol from rooms that feel unfinished, less identity tied to the next upgrade. You don't need an emptier life. You need a clearer bill. Look around your place right now. What is still charging you even though you stopped using it months ago? What would survive the replacement test? What would fail it tonight? That uncomfortable answer is the beginning of margin, and margin is how the lower earner ended up with nearly 10 times the security. Not magic, not deprivation cosplay, a different relationship with stuff, treated as a system with recurring costs instead of a trophy case. If 2 neighbors can live on the same block with opposite money stress, the difference isn't destiny, it's design. Design your purchases with cost per use. Design your home with less dead weight. Design your raises with a definition of enough. Design your wealth as options, not objects. Live better with less, not because less is trendy, but because less second cost leaves more first freedom. The quiet flex isn't the bigger TV. It's the calm when the paycheck hiccups. It's walking through your own rooms without feeling hunted by unfinished decisions. It's knowing your money still has room to move. That's the terminal value angle. Stuff isn't just stuff. It's a silent, recurring bill, unless you cut the subscription. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.